What is up, everybody? Welcome back. We're playing Dark Souls today. I am your host, WitherWords, and we're picking up right where we left off in Blighttown in the last video. This is part 2. Finishing off Blighttown, never to return. Certainly never the way I went, unless I absolutely have to. First things first, if you have not equipped the rusted iron ring that you should have if you've been following the video, now would be a good time to do it, because if you don't, you're going to run super slow through the moss. All this swampy water and moss and all that, it makes you move super slow, and it's a pain in the butt. But the rusted iron ring allows you to move at full speed. See, I got invaded here by Man-Eater Mildred. This is the second NPC that we have run into. She is not hard at all. She does hit pretty hard if you actually manage to get hit by her, but she is not very hard to kill. She staggers on every hit because, as you can see, she's not wearing any armor, so you should be able to dispatch her pretty quickly. Let's see, fighting some more mosquitoes. The swamp itself here it's annoying, is really the only way to put it. It's not hard. There's not really anything difficult about the swamp of Blighttown. It's just annoying. You have to pay attention at all times. You're going to see here I'm going to get poisoned. When you stand in the swamp, you get poisoned. Just ignore it. There's no point in trying to cure it all the time. Just leave yourself poisoned and replenish yourself with your Estus flask as needed. But watch the video here, and as I'm going, I'm going to be picking up items in the swamp. When you're playing through, you can decide if you really care enough about these items to get them, or if you don't really care. There's nothing that I would consider to be must-get items. There is the Pyromancer starting armor set down here, which I think is a pretty cool armor set, but certainly not one you need to get. And by this point, you may have already decided, you know what, I'm happy with the armor I have, and I'm going to use it. Either way, follow me, because we're going to be getting it anyways. See, we got a couple souls so far, and now we're fighting our first leech. These leeches are really easy enemies. They'll die in 1 or 2 hits depending on your weapon, how upgraded it is. 2 hits for me because my weapon sucks. You see there's the Pyromancer starting set. The leeches themselves do not do a whole lot of damage, but they can get really annoying when you get more than one on you. And you can get kind of unlucky and get some sort of chain staggerings if you are not really careful. So take it slow when you're around the leeches. There's a whole bunch of them here later on that we'll be going to. The leeches are very useful for farming. There's a chance they'll drop 1 of 2 shards. The large Titanite shard, which is very, 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 very important if you're trying to upgrade your weapon past +5 early on. That'll get you all the way to +10 if you get enough of those. And this is a good place to farm for them. Or they'll drop the green Titanite shard, which is necessary for me because I'm going with the divine weapon. And you need them to upgrade to divine weapons. So I absolutely need to farm these guys to get them. And it was a really frustrating experience because for whatever reason, these stupid slugs did not want to give me my green Titanite shards. I only needed to kill 2 of them. I only needed to loot it twice, because every time they drop green Titanite shards, they drop 5 of them. Now that doesn't work for the large ones. The large ones, they only drop 1 at a time. As you see, I got 1 there. But the green ones, they drop 5 at a time. So I only needed to loot them twice. But apparently the gaming gods were against me today, because it took me 6 run-throughs. That's right, 6 run-throughs with a decent amount of humanity for item discovery. Took me 6 run-throughs to get enough Titanite shards to be able to upgrade my weapon all the way to plus 10, plus 5 on the Divine Path. And the humorous thing, I think, is the very last run-through, number 6, I managed to get 15. 3 different guys dropped the green Titanite shards, so your mileage may vary. My mileage was awful. We're gonna give it a 2 thumbs down. I was the old Ford F-150 of the Dark Souls world in this one. So hopefully if you're trying to farm, you have better luck than I do. But I'm going to show you the area you want to go to if you're going to farm, because there is a bonfire nearby that is sort of a hidden bonfire. In fact, it is a hidden bonfire. Most people, their first run through the game, will go past this without ever knowing it's here. See, I pick up a server. I recommend getting the server if you're interested in getting the Quelaag Fury Sword later on, because see, I was having a lot of trouble looting this guy. Stupid physics. The server is a curved greatsword, and curved greatswords are, I think it's a greatsword, curved sword at least. Curved swords are what you need. You need to upgrade to plus 10, and those are what you need to be able to use Quelaag's Soul to get. And wow, I almost died there. That was really close. You need the plus 10 curved sword, or curved greatsword, one of them. Whichever one it is, the server works for it. To be able to upgrade with her soul to a Fury Sword. And I might do that later. It's kind of a nice little side weapon to have. It won't be as powerful as my main weapon, but it does do fire damage. And you see I got 1 green Titanite shard there. That was not a loot off their bodies. That was just a green Titanite shard that's sitting there no matter what. You don't have to kill anybody to get that. But I might upgrade to the Fury Sword later. It's a nice little weapon. It doesn't require a lot of stuff to use and gives you high damage for little input. But we'll see. You see I got the plank shield there. Then I hit the wall behind him. Now this is important. This is where the bonfire is going to be. So I got Twin Humanities. I'm going to pop that. But we're not done here yet. Because what's better than 1 trapdoor? 2. See, there's a second one hidden right behind the chest there. That leads you down to the Great Hollow. Now, I will explain what the Great Hollow is, but I'm not actually going to go into the Great Hollow. The reason for that being, it's really not that fun of an area to go to. It's also 100% optional. There are some things in it that might interest you. There is a miracle down there called Great Barrier, or Great Magic Barrier, that if I were to be PvPing with this guy, which I can't because I'm not online, but if I were, I would probably go down and get that, because being a faith-based character, it would be very useful. It negates about 90% damage, I think, when you have it up. 90% physical damage. I don't know if it works for magic or not. Or perhaps I have that around. Maybe it's magic and not physical. Either way, it's very useful, and I would normally go for it if I were playing online, but I'm not, so I'm not going to go down there. It's a long, long area. It's treacherous. You could die very easily, and when you die, it's a long run back. Not to mention that once you actually get down there, you have to run all the way back up. So I'm not going down. If you're interested, there are plenty of videos on YouTube about it. That's the Great Hollow and Ash Lake. But I'm not doing it. In fact, I'm going to skip ahead here. I skipped through my 6 runs for farming. I was just, it would have taken way too long. This video would have been like an hour long, and half of it would have been me killing slugs, and it would not have been very interesting. But I did get 15 green Titanite shards. Just take my word on that. I have them. And now we're going to go fight the boss of the area. I still have my rusted iron ring on. You want to make sure you keep that. Don't get rid of it. You don't want to take it off until we get to the very end here. and I'm going to pick up the last couple items in the way. There's one item here I'm not going to pick up. It's the Great Club. Location-wise, it's on the northern wall of the swamp. The wall that is across from the bonfire if you were to run straight ahead. It's guarded by a couple giants, or barbarians with boulders. I don't know what their actual name is. But I didn't feel like dealing with them, and it's just for the Great Club, which is a cool weapon if you have strength as your main stat. But I can't even wield it, so I'm not going to bother getting it. Just be careful if you do go for it. I see we're up here. We went up this giant nest area. There were guys with boulders outside. If you go to the very far right like I did and run up the side, you shouldn't aggro them. But you could also just run right through them if you wanted to. You should be alright. Because we killed Maneater Mildred earlier, her sign is right in front of the door here. This is the boss's door. And I'm going to take off my rusted iron ring now, because we're not going to get poisoned anymore, and we're not in the swamp. We don't have to worry about that until we beat her and are on our way out. I also used a purple moss to get rid of my poison, because we don't want to be poisoned while we're fighting the boss here. We definitely don't want that. See, I'm still a ninja here. Trying to figure out what I want to do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to switch up some weapons, switch up some armor. I just wanted to make sure that whatever I did, I still had my fast roll. Quelaag has a lot of fire damage. If you're really having trouble with her, and you have some stuff that negates fire damage, it's not a bad idea to switch over. If you have a Black Knight shield, that can be very, very useful here. Or if you have the Dragon Crest shield, which I did not detail how to get, but there are some guides for that. You have to kill an undead dragon to get it, but you can get it very early on. If you do have that, I believe it negates 95% fire damage when it blocks. So that can be very useful if you have that. So yeah, I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to wear, but I finally settled on something. I'm summoning Maneater Mildred here. I don't think she's necessary for the fight. In fact, I recently just played a playthrough where she did nothing but run into lava the entire time, which was kind of humorous, but completely defeated the point of actually summoning her. But if she works the way she's supposed to, she can actually be pretty useful. But we got the boss cinematic here, so go ahead and watch and enjoy. Alright, this is Quelaag, one of the daughters of the Witch of Izalith. Completely corrupted and turned crazy, now glued to a giant spider. Right off the bat, every playthrough I've ever done, her spider flings some lava out. Easy to avoid, just get to the side of her. Now, as you can see, I'm kind of hugging the left side of her face, and nearly got myself killed because I did not back up far enough away from the magic blast that she does. When she does the magic blast, if you roll backwards a couple times, or even just block with your shield, you can negate most of the damage. It's really the only attack she does that's really dangerous to you. And she telegraphs it. She'll like lean over the body of the spider and almost look like she's hugging it. And that's your cue to get out of dodge. But I got hit by it. And more lava spewing out. Most people when they're fighting Quelaag, they have trouble because they get hit by what she's doing right now, which is her sword swings. The sword swings do a decent amount of damage even through a shield. You won't block all of it. You see I got hit by it there and it still took a good chunk of damage off me. If you're having trouble with her, the best thing to do, especially if you're a melee character, is just get right up to the side of her face and just hug her as you go around in circles. only retreating when she either does her little magic hug, or there's another attack she does that she didn't do here, where the spider will kind of rear up on its legs and slam down. You want to back up for that too. But it's easy to go through that entire fight without even getting hit if you try. I was really trying to show you guys how the moveset works, and that's why it took me a little longer to kill her. But she's really not hard once you know what's going on. And your reward for killing her is some humanity, 20,000 souls, and the ability to ring the very last bell. This is the second bell. We've done the necessary parts of the undead prophecy, and this will open up the new area of the game. But I'll let you watch this cinematic as well, because I think it's pretty cool. Now earlier in the game, I did not actually run up to this area. But while you're going down in the undead parish to where Andre is, there's another path that cuts off and goes out. And normally, it's completely blocked. It's the path to Sen's fortress. But once you've rung both bells, our friendly giant there opens it for us, and we are able to go into Sen's fortress. That's where we'll be headed next. But first, I need to show you guys a little secret area. We're going to run down the stairs here. Now you can keep continuing in this area. It'll lead into a place called the Demon Ruins, through this door here that I'm showing you. I don't recommend it though. It's not the natural part of progression. You can do it, advanced players might do it for the souls you can get going through. I do it sometimes because there's a boss right after that's very, very easy and gives you a decent amount of souls, but that's up to you.
Are you a new servant?
Make sure you, when you open the secret door here, you don't run in and just start wailing on this guy. I know it's tempting. He looks like a monster, but he's actually friendly. And if you talk to him, he will step aside. And I recommend doing that because once he's stepped aside, if you haven't gotten a Pyromancer's glove yet, you can get another one from him. It's not as easy as just asking for it, I don't think. I think there is one requirement, something to do with an egg, and I honestly don't remember. Laurentius's weapon is easier, but the main reason you need to come in here, I think, is to rest at that bonfire. Later on, we're going to get the Lord Vessel, and once we do, we can warp to this bonfire. However, if we don't rest at this bonfire, we have to run all the way through Blighttown to get back down here again. And that just sucks. So, if I were you, I'd rest at the bonfire there. It might cost you another minute or two on your run back up the first time, but it'll save you time in the long run. And speaking of time, I'm going to speed up here. We did talk to that other girl that kind of looked like Quelaag. She leads the Covenant Daughters of Chaos. You can join it if you want. It has some really useful pyromancies once you level up a bit in it. Great Chaos, Fireball, things like that. I see I'm moving back to my Rusted Iron Ring here to run through the swamp. It does cost humanity to level up in it though. And early on in the game, I would just recommend skipping it, but that's up to you. It costs 30 humanity, I believe, to get all the way up to where you get the good pyromancies. And what I did just there, where I spun around in a circle, once you get your Pyromancer's Glove to plus 10, if you upgrade it with Laurentius, there will be an NPC there who will not only ascend your glove to the next level, but will teach you some really cool pyromancies, and can actually be worth coming down for. She's not there now, but later on, if I were to upgrade to plus 10 on my glove, that's where she would be. Now we're going back up through Blighttown. We're going back up the way that I usually come down. This is just so much easier than the other side of Blighttown. And the one I do pretty much every time I go through. Now there are a couple things here that are very useful, a couple items. One item in particular, Firekeeper Soul, which we'll find in a second here. And even if you went through Blighttown the other way and didn't come down this way, like we did for this playthrough, I would recommend you go up through this direction. And the reason being, just so you can get the Firekeeper Soul. You do need to be careful though. There are a couple blow dart guys in this area, and they're tightly packed. There's a good chance you'll get toxic if you go through this area. Just be ready for it. Have some purple moss on you. At the worst, you just need to run back and go to a bonfire. But I'm going to show you guys a couple of the items here that you can get. First things first, I'm going to just kill these blow dart guys, because if I don't, when I try to walk across this path here, they're just going to keep blowing their darts at me and screwing me up. So we're going to run up here, keep going along the path in this little alcove. See that guy there? I got toxic, but I'm not going to heal it yet. There's just no point. There's still 4 more of these blow dart guys in the area. You'll get it right back almost as soon as you clear it. So just heal up and get rid of these guys. Lightning Spear is really useful here because I can kill these dogs on the bottom too without having to actually jump down. If you're a melee character, I recommend using any item you have, say Firebomb or maybe throwing knives, crossbow. Just try to pick some of these guys off before you jump down, if you can, because it's very easy to get overwhelmed with all the dogs in there. And you don't want to have to make a return trip if you don't have to. So kill as many as you can, then jump down. The area itself is closed. Once I'm done here, there's no reason to stay. But if you're new and you're just running through, you may make the mistake of thinking you can keep on going because there's a water wheel that's working out front. And it can kind of give the illusion that you should jump on it and keep going. But don't do that. That's a very bad idea. It will probably lead to your death. So skip it and go back up the way we came. So you got one more toxic dart blower. There we go, he's dead. Go ahead and heal my toxic up. And now I'm going to run and grab some items. Got the Soul of a Proud Knight. Very useful. I think it's 3,000 souls. Maybe 5,000. I think it's 3,000 though. And for whatever reason, I couldn't target these dogs from where I was standing, so I had to kind of go up a little more. But right behind those dogs, kind of behind the grate there, is the second Firekeeper Soul we're going to be picking up. As I said before in an earlier video, you can use those Firekeeper Souls to upgrade your Estus Flask, which is just immensely helpful, especially if you have a lot of vitality and you're new to the game, trying to work your way through. For me, it would be kind of wasted, just because I have very little vitality, and I can already almost heal myself up to full with a +1 flask. But I'm still going to use it, because the only other use for the Firekeeper Soul is to feed it to an NPC for 1,000 souls, or to get 5 humanity. Neither of which is really all that useful, so you may as well upgrade your Estus Flask. New Game Plus, you might want to pop for humanity or trade it in, but for now, we're going to upgrade our Estus Flask with it. You see I have, if you look in the bottom right, I have 41,000 souls, which is a decent amount for early on. But I'm about to make a mistake here and die. I got kind of foolish. I thought I could make a jump that I couldn't actually make. And because I really didn't want to lose 41,000 souls so early on, I'll make a return trip and retrieve them, but I'm going to actually cut that out of the video because it's about a 5-minute trip and there's no point in seeing it. But when there's a sudden cut up here, you'll see that's why. I was just trying to shorten the length here. I'm going to go across this branch. Be very careful when you're going across this branch. It has some weird pathing. You can get stuck for no apparent reason, and you can start to feel like you're sliding off. And so you want to be very careful when you're going across. At the end here is the sealer set. The sealer set's a pretty cool looking set. It's also fairly protective for early on, especially if you're using light armor. It has some decent defenses for a light armor set and can be useful. There's also the sorcery remedy. I'm not actually sure what that does. I think it heals your poison, or it may just stave off poison. I'm not sure, but that's where you get it, and I won't be using it because I don't have any sorcery. I'm going to the top here. There's actually nothing up in this area, so feel free to skip through if you're playing, but I wasn't paying attention. This is actually a continuation of the last run. I didn't actually quit and go to bed or anything. It was very late at night and I was still playing, and my mind blanked. I know there's nothing up here, but I went through. And you see, I looked down. I thought I could make that jump there, but I was wrong. As you can see, I was wrong. And it pops you back up down at the Daughter of Chaos, which is the one downside to resting at her bonfire. If you die, you have to come all the way back here, which really, really sucks. So, my suggestion is don't die, and you won't have to worry about that. I did quit the game for the night there because I was frustrated, and I didn't feel like going on. But we'll skip ahead to where I actually returned, and I have my souls again, and I'm on my way back up. On your return trip across the branch here, be very careful. Right here, I don't know what it is, but there's like an invisible little ledge, and you can't just walk over it. You have to roll. I don't know what it is. I've died a couple times there before trying to get around it just by running, and you just run off the edge because it pushes you over. So be very careful on your return trip. But now we're going all the way back up, and we will be exiting the way that I usually come down for Blighttown. Pay close attention as we're going up, because the area I'm going to, it's essentially the back door. And if you're doing another playthrough later on, or if you ever want to return to Blighttown, this is the way you should go. The only reason really to go through the other way is for the power within, maybe the Ido, and maybe for the ninja set if you really want it. Otherwise, this is the way to go. You want to make sure, if you don't have the master key, to get this chest here, the key to the New Londo ruins. Otherwise, you won't be able to open the door at the end of the path down here that you need to get to return to Firelink. There are some barbarians in this little passage. I'm just going to run by them. You can also run by them on the way down if you want to. They won't chase you very far. But we're coming out here into the Valley of the Drakes. You can come up a different way as well. If you kept going down the ledge there, that would lead you to the Undead Dragon that has the Dragon Crest Shield and a few other items, but we're not going that way. The more you play the game, the more you realize there's a lot of different ways to get to different areas. You see, we're down in the New Londo ruins now. We're not going to stay here long, because the area itself is a little tougher than some of the areas we've been at before, and we can't, well, we could finish it off here, but we're not going to, because that's not the regular progression path, and we're assuming that you're new to the game and want to watch the regular progression path. So we're going to end it here, right before the elevator back up to Firelink, and next time we're going to be going through Sen's Fortress. So stay tuned, folks. Hope you enjoyed the guide to Blighttown.